So from where I sit, right, there's the culmination of all these efforts, and you really just kind of glossed over the nitty gritty of the angry coaches and all that kind of stuff. The thing that I've seen, and it's been cool because I've got a front row seat to all this. I really do. I don't know the dirty details, but I know the emotion and the end goal was always in mind. It didn't matter the politics. It didn't matter, like you said, the dirty details of the angry coaches or the this or the that. The sanctioning of Ohio happened because the end goal was in mind. And you mentioned Nicola and Vanessa, and they've been on Wrestling Philosophy before, but it's people like yourself and others, that many others that we can't name, that end goal just ended up in the sanctioning. And to me, as a fan, if I take my my little role here in Ohio off, but just as a wrestling fan, it's like, why wouldn't this happen, right?
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, why wouldn't we share this with half of our population? I always go back to that, like, and even when I tell my new girls, imagine if there were never ever women's basketball, and if we were the first time that we were experiencing women's basketball, what that would be like for us as a whole. Like, we already love it as a sport to watch our male counterparts do it, but what about us? So I always go back to that with wrestling. Like, why would you as a male not want to share that with your female counterparts? It almost becomes offensive when, like, you guys also don't want to share this. If it's that great, then why don't you want us to experience it as a whole? So
I've got a daughter that's older than the boys, and my boys wrestled. They're the ones that turned me on to the sport. My daughter's older. She's a year older than my oldest boy, and she was drugged around to all the wrestling tournaments, and she's a wrestling girl. She loves it. Yeah. But you know what? She never stepped foot on mat. And now I know, and I look back and I go, she probably would have been pretty good. And it wasn't in the culture. It wasn't in, we just didn't introduce girls to the sport back, 20 years ago. And look how far it's come.
It was the same exact thing for me. And I can even remember, like I mentioned, my high school sweetheart, I would have never dreamt of joining the team with him ever. I mean, it wasn't even on the table, anywhere close to being on the table. I wouldn't have even thought about it. But you could be a stat, you could be a team manager.
Right.
But now I can't imagine there not being girls wrestling. It's just come so far. The pendulum swung so far.